Hi, it's Eternal Fighter Sean here for those that don't know my name, and today I'm going to be doing a very slightly different video that I've never done before. As the 2017 Royal Rumble is approaching rapidly, I thought, hey, let's get a head start on everyone else and just say what I would personally book for WrestleMania 33, the 33rd show of shows. Now this event, in my opinion, will blow 30, 31 and 32 all out of the water. It is going to be an awesome show. We've got so many more superstars, a brand new implemented brand split, so many more possibilities for what we can do in terms of matches and storytelling. I just really can't wait to get into it. So sadly, I'm going to have to start with the pre-show, and yes, I know, boo-hoo pre-show, blah blah. Anyway, I'll try and get through it as best as I can. But, yeah, I guess we might as well just get started. The title matches I'm going to have on the pre-show, I'm probably going to have nothing but title matches on it because there's a lot of goddamn titles. I will have the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships, and the United States Championships. So, let's just get straight in. By the way, I would put the Cruiserweight Championship on there, but this is just before Survivor Series that I'm filming this, like a week and a half away, and I don't really know what's happening with the Cruiserweight division. I don't know if they're going to be going to 205 Live or going to SmackDown. There's so many possibilities for what's going to happen with the Cruiserweight division, but I'm just going to leave it out just to avoid any complications. But just so you know, I personally have it on the main show, maybe following the Undertaker match, and I'd have Cedric Alexander versus Grand Metalik, personally. I think they're both awesome. Anyway, SmackDown Live Women's Championship, I'd have Alexa Bliss versus not Becky Lynch, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. Becky Lynch is not going to be the reigning champion at this point. It will be Alexa Bliss, and she will be defending it against Carmella. Now, that's a very controversial decision, but the problem is the SmackDown Women's division is so weak that there just aren't that many women that I could really pick. I mean, Natalia's been in the main event scene before, so is Nikki Bella. Natalia's obviously 100 miles better than Nikki Bella, but, you know, Nikki Bella, no. Natalia, no. I just personally am going to pick Carmella. Sorry. The SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. This might be a bit of a controversial decision, but I'm going to have it like the kind of clusterfuck kind of thing that we had at Payback, so it's going to be a fatal four-way tag team elimination match. That'll be quite spicy to watch, I think. I'd really like that. With the elimination aspect, people always tagging the other teams in willingly just so that they could get eliminated. I think that would really add something to the match, in my opinion. So it would be American Alpha, obviously, versus Rhino and Heath Slater, who are not the champions at this point. They would have dropped the titles to the Usos in an ideal world, so obviously the Usos are going to be in there, along with Breezango. So what I'm going to have happen is, because the Usos are the current champions, I want to have right at the end them go one-on-one with American Alpha. So first off, I'm going to have Breezango eliminated. I'm sorry, Johnny Curtis, we all love you, okay, but just for me, this is what I'm going to have, and then after that, I'm going to have Heath Slater be pinned by the Usos after a devastating Uso splash, and then after that, it's going to be the Usos one-on-one with American Alpha. They've been screwing them the whole year long, and then what I'd have happen is I'd have the ref maybe get knocked down at some point. Maybe a heel Roman Reigns runs down to try and help them or something. I don't know. Heel Roman Reigns shenanigans is always nice. But honestly, I wouldn't mind if they cut that out. If they just had a clean victory for American Alpha. In fact, I prefer that, yeah. Just scrub the Roman thing. Just have American Alpha hit that Grand Amplitude. That's what it's called again, yes. The Grand Amplitude. And then get the 1, 2, 3. I just don't see American Alpha losing an opportunity at the tag team titles at WrestleMania, you know? Anyway, so next match is Roman Reigns versus... I'm going to have Roman Reigns as a heel versus a face Cesaro. Tell me you would not pay money to see that, and if you wouldn't, Jesus Christ, I don't know what you'd do. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't fucking like you. That was a bit of an overstatement. I'm sorry. But their in-ring chemistry would be godlike. Seriously, it would be really, really good. It'd be really good. And I feel kind of bad putting it on the pre-show because Cesaro is a must-see talent, but, right. Now, this is a bit of a controversial decision, but because I know, no one likes Roman Reigns. I don't like Roman Reigns. But just to keep the rivalry going, just because I don't want every single title to change hands and all the ideal booking to happen at WrestleMania, okay, I'm personally going to have Roman Reigns retain. But if he's a heel, it's not that big of a problem, right? Right? Please don't disagree with me. Next is the main show, so I thought what better way to kick it off than with an IC title ladder match. Yes. So, in my storyline, I have a little binding agreement between SmackDown and Raw. So, Raw wants to insert somebody into the world title match of their roster. SmackDown say no, they just want to keep it between their own guys. But SmackDown say that they will let Raw insert one of their competitors into the Intercontinental Championship ladder match if and only if they can insert one of their competitors into the Women's and Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal match. So, I know it seems a bit controversial to draft the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal to Raw. To even draft the match itself seems a bit stupid, but it works. It just keeps it all flowing together, and please don't murder me in the comments. It's just one goddamn match that's never actually bloody good, so don't get your fucking knickers in a twist about it. Sorry for being so hostile, I need to lay off the sugars. Regardless, so, the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. The planned match is, and yes, I'm going to read this off a script, Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt versus Kalisto versus Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. And what happens is, as I said, Raw are going to insert one of their members into the match. So it's a 6-pack challenge on SmackDown Live, and the first person to be pinned or submitted in that match is knocked out of the Intercontinental 6-man ladder match. In the Intercontinental Championship 6-man ladder match. Excuse me, amateur hour. So, Baron Corbin is the one that loses. I'm not going to have him submit. I'm not going to have any bullshit. I'm just going to have him straight up be hit with a bunch of finishes from all the goodies and just be basically overcome. So sorry for any Baron Corbin fans, but that actually bears a lot of relevance when it gets down to the actual match. So the actual planned match is Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt versus Kalisto versus Apollo Crews versus a mystery member from the Raw roster. Now, here's where things get good. On the night, jealous at the fact that he can't be in the match, Baron Corbin attacks longtime rival Kalisto, so he's unable to compete in the ladder match. What happens is everyone comes out, apart from Kalisto and the mystery Raw opponent, and Stephanie comes out with a microphone. She says, "I've picked one of my top favourites from NXT." So, you know, the crowd is very much on edge at this point. Then she announces that her specific new signee of the Raw roster and currently competing in the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 33 is none other than NXT call-up Andrade Cien Almas. As I said, Kalisto has been injured, so Stephanie walks backstage, and then I'll probably have Daniel Bryan come out and say this because his relation to the next person from NXT, it makes a bit more sense than Shane. So Daniel Bryan comes out, he's not in wrestling gear, you have a little pop, so people obviously think, oh, Daniel Bryan's going to be in the match, awesome. Then he comes out and he says, unfortunately I can't wrestle, you know, blah blah, fuck you doctors. And then he says, I too, Stephanie, have called up somebody from NXT, somebody who I think is willing to change the world, someone who I can only describe very simply as a perfect 10. Ty fucking Dillinger has come up from NXT and he enters the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 33. So, you have the obvious heat between Cien Almas and Ty Dillinger. Unbeatable, simply perfect. The match goes on. Ambrose is great for this type of match because he's really willing to take a bump. Maybe a bridge ladder spot, I don't know. What I'd have is right at the ends. So let's have a ladder in the middle here, and then a ladder bridged across to the rope there. And the same here, a bit like what we saw at the Money in the Bank, but rather it being from the corners, it's just to the ropes. So then, what I have happen is Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler are both at the top of the ladder. Might I mention that Dolph Ziggler is still the champion at this point in time. They're maybe clubbing forearms or something, I don't know, something dramatic, something cool. They're both pretty tough sons of bitches, so I'm not gonna lie, it'd be pretty entertaining. Then, what happens is, because we've got two faces right at the top of the ladder, Cien Almas comes from behind and knocks off Dolph Ziggler. But when I say he knocks him off, I mean completely pulls his head into the ladder. He's out, he's done. Just rolls off, expert selling from Ziggler, rolls off the ladder, falls onto the floor, complete knockout. We know that Dolph Ziggler is not retaining the Intercontinental Championship at this point. So Cien Almas and Dean Ambrose are clubbing heads or something bloody awesome. Maybe Cien Almas is kicking from the sides and then Dean Ambrose is trying to batter his bloody face in. And Parallel Crushers retweeted a Keemstar tweet. Fucking great. Cien Almas knocks off Ambrose, pretty surprisingly, and then he's obviously getting booed because it was Ty Dillinger's moment. Dillinger rushes up faster than he's ever run before, rushes up that ladder, gets from the outside of the ring onto the bridge of the ladder and runs up it. I'd have Cien Almas pick up the win, and of course I'm bloody joking, that'd be a terrible decision, Jesus Christ, I'm not an idiot. I'd have Ty Dillinger win the Intercontinental Championship in his WWE debut. There's no better way of making him feel like a main eventer other than making him pick up one of the most esteemed and prestigious titles in the history of the wrestling industry in his first main roster match. There's just no better way to introduce him to the more casual fans, to get to know a bit more about him. I don't know, do whatever you want from that point. This is just concerned with WrestleMania. Ty Dillinger picked up the Intercontinental Championship. I hope you're happy with that. If you're not, I'm sorry. Next, we have the Lesnar match, and he's not going to be against Shane McMahon, because why would he be against Shane McMahon? Their wrestling styles are completely different. It makes absolutely no sense for them to be against each other. It's one of the worst ideas in wrestling history. That's a bit of an overstatement, please forgive me. Nevertheless, I would not have him go against Shane McMahon. I'd instead have him go against the NXT equivalent to Brock Lesnar, the human suplex machine, which was arguably better at doing that said activity than Brock Lesnar himself. Samoa Joe. You'd have Samoa Joe maybe, I don't know, go for a bloody muscle buster, and then Brock just turns around on his shoulders, lands like in the Scorpion Death Drop position, picks him up, F5, Samoa Joe kicks out. Now the booking for this match is very, very difficult because neither of them are the type of guy to ever lose. They're just both so unbeatable, you know? And I know it's almost impossible for Samoa Joe to beat Brock Lesnar, but of course in an ideal world I'd have that happen. But, Brock Lesnar, I don't know, I don't personally think he deserves wins if he just wrestles 6 matches a year. So it'd be controversial to have him win, but I'd say I'd have Samoa Joe go over personally. Next, we have the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who are not the champions yet, against the New Day. I would still have the New Day as face. I'd still have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson as heel. I'd have them have a very, very nice, quick little match, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. But here's the most important part of it. I'd actually have the New Day retain. Now, I'm only saying that I'm joking. Of course I'm bloody joking. I'd have Gallows and Anderson pick up the win. I mean, Jesus Christ, do you even know me, bruh? Gallows and Anderson would pick up the win, rightfully so. Let's just get straight on to the next match, to be honest. Next up, we have the women's match. As I said, Raw and SmackDown have made an agreement. Raw got a person in SmackDown's Intercontinental Championship ladder match, but at the same time, SmackDown got somebody into the Raw women's match. So, we're gonna have Charlotte versus Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Christing Lynch. I need to stop what I'm doing. Bayley is just what that women's triple threat at WrestleMania 32 was bloody missing, and that match itself was incredible. Imagine it with Bayley. Imagine all the little mini segments we'd have. Charlotte attempting to screw Sasha, Bayley trying to help out, Becky just doing her whole yeah, I'm an Irish woman and I'm screaming thing. It'd be bloody awesome. It'd be the match of the night. And quite honestly, I don't think it could go anywhere better on the card. But here's the most important part. What I'd maybe have possibly is Sasha turning heel in the match, maybe? But the most imperative things are going to be that Charlotte stays heel, Becky stays face. I mean, Sasha can do whatever the hell she wants because, well, I prefer her as a face, but heel Sasha would still be nice to see in 2017. But most imperative, I would have Bayley walking away with the Women's Championship, only because she's been wasting her time with Dana bloody Brooke. There's just so many better things to be doing with Bayley, and what better way to make everyone know her name than even people who don't watch wrestling going, oh yeah, did you hear that girl who hugs people won the women's title at WrestleMania? You know, the pop would be colossal. People would be going crazy for Bayley. Be a feel-good moment like Guerrero at, which WrestleMania was that? 20 against Kurt Angle, but that was a retain. I'm just gonna say Chris Benoit. Why not? Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit. He existed. He was a good wrestler. Fuck yourself, WWE. Next up, we have the streak that is broken match thing. Deal with it. I personally would not have The Undertaker against John Cena, only because there are just so many better people to have The Undertaker against, and the fact that they're just trying to line this up, you know, Undertaker versus John Cena, like, no, just stop. Seriously, just stop. Okay? John Cena undeniably puts on good matches, but you can't really say much when the only good matches he puts on are with the likes of AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. Like, AJ Styles can literally make a match good with Titus O'Neil. He can make a match good with anyone. Could John Cena do that? No. Imagine how many times we've had to see John Cena versus The Big Show. Like, it's been terrible every single time they've done it. Same with freaking John Cena versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton is a skilled individual. Sloppier now, but still works a great heel gimmick. And he was fine in the ring, I guess, in 2006. But even back then, Cena couldn't manage doing it. So, sorry Cena, not today. You're not going against Taker. Personally, I'd have Taker against said Viper, Randy Orton. That's a controversial decision. I'm only saying this because Randy Orton needs a place on the card, right? Undertaker can't really go against one of the newer stars. The styles wouldn't really mix very well. Do you know what I mean? Like, Triple H versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 28 is a really good match because they have very similar styles. And in a no DQ atmosphere, which I forgot to say I'm going to be having here as well, it just worked great, and, well, Michaels was there, and he makes everything awesome. Since there aren't very many old-timers apart from John Cena that are still here that he hasn't gone against, people like Triple H, who he's gone against, and other people, I just think that brawling is the kind of style you need to have. And what better brawler that's not John Cena than Randy Orton? So, I'd personally have Randy Orton go against The Undertaker. Of course I wouldn't have him bloody win, but I think they put on a brilliant match. Well, not brilliant, but it'd still be good in a no DQ atmosphere. It'd be great. And with Orton being a heel at the moment, joining the Wyatt family, who knows, a Wyatt run and maybe set up a rematch at 34. Who knows, you know? I mean, no, not the rematch at 34, that's a bloody terrible idea, but you get the picture. Next up, we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Wow. I have a lot of ideas for this match, so what I'd probably have is, as I said, it's a Raw thing, so, well, it's gonna be a Raw thing, and there's just gonna be any legends who just don't know what to fucking do with themselves on the night, so they're just like, hey, I'm gonna enter this match because fun. I don't need a permanent WWE contract to compete. Let's not break kayfabe. So, the people I'd probably have come out to begin with, people like The Big Show, Mark Henry, I don't know, even Shaquille O'Neal maybe, just have a bit of, like, you know, stuff off of their last match previously in the show, which I didn't bother mentioning, because this is a wrestling show, not the bloody 1980s wet dream of a 13-year-old boy. Jesus Christ, that got graphic. Anyway, the legends that I'd probably have come back, if possible, bear in mind I'm saying if possible, if they can't come, don't include them, Bubba Ray Dudley, I mean, that's probably the biggest stretch of all these people that I've been talking about. The Boogeyman, the Godfather, why couldn't Godfather wrestle? And this is a bit of a controversial decision, but I'd actually have Christian in the match. I don't know, just put him in there. It'll make sense in a few minutes, but it's right at the end of the entrances. A few people have been jobbed out and not gotten their own entrances, and then right at the end, you have Shane McMahon come out, because I think he has a closer relation to the guy that is going to be called up from NXT now than he did to the guy that Daniel Bryan called up in the earlier match, which was Ty Dillinger. So, personally, who I'd have debut in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and win it, and then debut on SmackDown the next night, is Austin Aries. Boom. You're bloody welcome. And what I'd have, you're not gonna like this, but swallow the bloody pill, peasants. I would have Austin Aries eliminate Christian to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Christian is a guy that's always been screwed and cheated out of his own victories. And what better way of making Michaels a heel than there was to screw Brett again? Just do it. Screw Christian. Sorry, Christian. You're not really up to much. I would have the World Heavyweight Championship match. And that match is going to be AJ Styles, obviously, versus Finn Balor. Now, as you know, Finn Balor is currently on the Raw brand. But what I'd have happen is I'd have him return at the Royal Rumble, because why bloody not, win the Royal Rumble, because it's Finn fucking Balor, and then we have him, still as a face, he hasn't turned heel yet, we have him win the Royal Rumble, but then say that he doesn't want to compete for the Universal Championship because of how many people, like Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, that have just been completely obliterated in any chances for gaining it. He thinks that SmackDown is a more fair place to be, and so he makes a shift. That is controversial, but only because, look at SmackDown. Look at our main eventers. We have AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and James Ellsworth, two of which aren't even world class. I mean, Dean Ambrose is pretty good, yeah, he takes bumps, but ultimately, his matches aren't 5 stars. Styles has put on multiple 5-star matches in his career. He's easily the best wrestler in the world, and if you think about it, wouldn't SmackDown just be absolutely terrible if it wasn't for AJ Styles? Think about it, it'd be terrible. Now, I'm really sorry to move Balor over to SmackDown, but I feel that would give SmackDown the boost it requires at the moment. But yeah, that's personally what I'd have. I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen now, but Styles and Balor are having a brilliant match. Styles is still the best heel he's ever heeled, and Balor is just Balor. That smiling guy that for some reason lets his homicidal tendencies leak out and dresses up as a demon every 30 days because Halloween? I don't know. Guess he just feels like it. Okay, well, enough chit-chat. Let's get down to the actual match itself. Obviously, the ref's going to get knocked down. Obviously, Gallows and Anderson are going to come out. And then what's going to happen is AJ Styles is going to demand for them to do a magic killer on Finn Balor. They pick him up. They don't hesitate or anything. They just pick him up quickly, really sharp. They just put him on the top rope. And then they pick up Styles. And they do a magic killer on him. And then Balor hits Styles with a coup de grace. Gallows and Anderson leave the ring. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. The most dominant faction in WWE today, the Balor Club. The Balor Club? Balor Club end WrestleMania holding up the World Heavyweight and the Tag Team Championships. And what a way that'd be to bloody end it. Except we're not ending there. We still have the Universal Championship and the main event match, which I'll get to in a second. Well, right now, actually. The Universal Championship match, I would have Kevin Owens, who is a heel, because it's Kevin Owens, versus Chris Jericho, surprisingly. I don't know whether I should make this a triple threat or something, but I honestly think Jericho versus Owens would be an awesome one-on-one. Like, really good. So, Jericho is a face. He's been outsmarted by the dastardly heel up-and-comer. He's been a bit insulted by that. But don't worry, I'm not going to be keeping Jericho face for very long. He's going to turn heel very soon. And I guess there's nothing more I need to do than to just get down to explaining. So, personally, I would have Jericho go over and win the Universal Championship. Only because... I don't know. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't, you know? I guess Owens would really benefit from beating a legend, but at the same time I want to give Chris Jericho one last main event run at that same time. Now I think I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to have face Jericho win, but by cheating. So eventually that then calls for his heel turn again, loses the championship and maybe just leaves WWE for a while. But I'd have him maybe not win by, like, you know, thinking with a chair while the rest down or anything, because he's still face at that point. I'd like to have him maybe win by roll-up, by a fluky roll-up. Well, Kevin Owens had hurt his neck or something. I don't know, that'd be pretty cool. Just to see Jericho as champion again. The cheers he'd get the next night would be bloody awesome. Well, they probably wouldn't because this is a PG crowd we're talking about here, but let's just get right onto the main event. And you've probably been wondering, where the hell is Rollins? And I'll tell you right now, the main event is not for the Universal Championship. It is Seth Rollins versus Triple H. This is a very controversial decision. I don't know how many times I've freaking said this, just to have this match as the main event. But I'm only doing it simply because if this match was another match on the card, like Sting versus Triple H, when you go into WrestleMania, it's not going to be a match that you're thinking about. And that's the thing about Sting versus Triple H. It was a match on colossal scale, you know, really surreal. But because they didn't make a bigger deal out of it, they didn't put it up higher on the card, it just wasn't very prominently remembered. And that's why I'd have this be the main event, giving that match the boost it needs. That's just my opinion anyway. Of course, what I'd have happen is Triple H halfway through the match, he's healing at his best. Well, not his best because it's not the 90s, but he tries to screw Rollins by saying that it's now a no DQ match. Kevin Owens, titleless, comes out really PO'd, just feels, hey, why not beat up an old rival? And him and Triple H just really lay into Rollins with chairs, kendo sticks, you name it, they got it. Maybe even having pedigree Rollins through a table. I don't know. Then they're in the ring. And they're about to go and pin Rollins. When from the crowd, this is a key thing. From the crowd, Rollins and Reigns run in, completely beat down Kevin Owens. Maybe have Ambrose make a fat joke or something stupid like that. But regardless, it's not a complete reformation of the Shield, bear in mind. Reforming the Shield is something I don't particularly think should ever happen. But, nevertheless, I'd have Reigns and Ambrose have Rollins pick up the victory over Triple H. Now, while I would prefer maybe to have Seth beat him clean, I just feel it'd be a perfect way to end WrestleMania. A fully face Rollins at this point, down in tears that his old best friends have come back to help him. So the United States Champion, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose all embracing a warm hug, do the Shield fist thing, that sounds really weird, and then they all just stand together celebrating his victory. And yeah, that's how I book WrestleMania 33. I think almost every match on the card would be good, very good, and hopefully I fit as much storytelling in there as I possibly can. If you're disappointed by this, tell me in the comments below and I might do a redo just in case people think differently. But nevertheless, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see every single one. There's something on my nose. I'll see every single one of you in the next video I make. I can't do this thing with my hand. I'm gonna edit that out. Bye bye!